So, a very good afternoon to all the respected panel members. First of all, I would like to thank Dean sir and HOD sir for giving me this opportunity and letting this Viva happen. I would also like to thank Nita ma'am, the research coordinator, for creating. Last but not the least, I would also like to thank my supervisor, Dr. Anurag Singh Hale, for helping me out at each and every step during this journey of my PhD. So the title of my thesis is Development of a Suitable Assessment Methodology for English to Hindi Machine Translation. So these are the outlines of my today's presentation. First of all, I'll give you an idea about my research objectives and the outcomes out of them. Then machine translation and its evaluation. What are the various criteria of evaluating machine translation systems? What are the different issues with algorithms used for machine translation evaluation? The various data sets and the machine translation engines used in our study. The implementation of automatic evaluation machine translation metrics. The statistical analysis of different matrices used for machine translation evaluation. Our proposed algorithm. The results and comparison with the existing techniques. And finally, the conclusion and future work. So the first research objective was to explore the parallel corpora for deployment in automatic evaluation of English to Hindi machine translation systems. As we already know that the development of corpus is of utmost importance in the field of natural language processing. So that's why this was our first objective, to create our own corpus, or at least to explore the various corpus, so that when we study further different type of machine translation systems, we can validate our study and we can authenticate the results as well. So to achieve this research objective, a large number of English to Hindi parallel corpus were explored and analyzed critically, so that the dataset can be used for the study of existing matrices for the evaluation of English to Hindi machine translation. And finally, after exploring a lot of existing corpus, we finally reached onto two different domain-specific data sets. One was from the agriculture domain and another one was from judiciary domain. Both of the corpus were prepared, analyzed, and used for the further study. Another research objective was to study and to analyze how well the existing automatic evaluation matrices like BLEU, EST, F measure, Meteor, Amber, Bleep, etc. perform on Indian language machine translation systems by comparing the results obtained with human evaluator scores, and to study their effect on the following evaluation results, like what happen or how the score of these different matrices get changed if we change the size of the corpus. Similarly, what effect they put on the evaluation scores when the sample size, we vary the sample size. Likewise, if we increase the number of reference translations or if we decrease it, how it eventually affects the evaluation scores of different machine translation systems. So as an outcome, or we can say that to achieve this research objective, we studied and as well as implemented 5 different matrices named as BLEU, GTM, Meteor, Amber, and Bleep. And the Hindi sentences from the corpus that we have prepared as a research object, as our first research objective, are tested and the resultant scores are compared. The third research objective was to select a metric that correlates best with human evaluated results for English to Hindi machine translation evaluation on the basis of above analysis. And for making this decision that which metric correlates well, we had to do a crucial statistical analysis of all the 5 different matrices that we have implemented in our second research objective, so that the metric which giving the score closer to the human score can be chosen for the improvement as well as for study. The next research objective was how we can enhance, how we can improve the existing metric by incorporating some changes in that, so that a better evaluation metric can be designed for the evaluation of English to Hindi machine translation systems. And the different features that we have incorporated were the synonym replacement, the pause tagging, and the modifier-modified relationship in Hindi sentences. And as an outcome of this research objective, we have selected BLUE metric based on the statistical analysis of 5 different matrices that we have used in our study, and along with incorporated few changes like synonym replacement and shallow passing in the metric, so as to get better results as compared to the original metric. And finally, our last research objective was to evaluate the performance of the new metric that has been developed in our fourth research objective on the basis of various criteria like fluency, adequacy, and accuracy. And as an outcome of this, the new metric was tested on the sentences of the corpus, and the obtained results are also compared with the results from the existing matrices, which provide strength to the new features that have been incorporated in the metric and give directions to the future research of finding and incorporating more similar features in any other metric. And the possibilities of future work are also explored in this particular objective. So in the next few slides, I will be presenting the research publications that have been published out of my research work during this thesis. These are the general publications. And these are the conference publications. Okay, so before going down deep into the work that has been carried out in my PhD thesis, I would like to give you all a brief background of what actually the machine translation and its evaluation means. So, as you already know, the word translation refers to the transformation of one language into another. So, it is nothing but just the process in which a text from one natural language, let's say English, is translated into another, let's say Hindi. And when this task of translation is being carried out by computers or let's say machine, this process is called as machine translation. So, as we know that there are a lot of machine translation systems are available online as well as offline. So, we must have a clear idea about what can we say about a translation, if it is whether it is a good translation or a bad translation. So for this, we must be very much clear. So good translation in the business sense is text that communicates the same meaning and intention as it was communicating in the original text or in the original language. So that can be categorized as a good translation. Moreover, a good translation, therefore, we can say should be complete, it should be grammatically correct as well as natural sounding. So if a particular translated text satisfies all these criteria, then we can put it into the category of good translation. On the other hand, a bad translation does not sound right, it does not communicate the same or nearby information, or is riddled with spelling or any other error. So that's why, because of how we can categorize a translation out as good or bad, there must be some valuation parameters on the basis of which we can say that it is a good or it is a bad translation. So here comes the another term that we call as the machine translation evaluation. So in simple words, if we need to define this term, we can define it as the assessment of the machine translated text, or we can say the comparison or an assessment of the output of various machine translation engines based on various criteria. And when this task is being done by the computers, then we can say that it is an automatic evaluation. Moreover, it is not as simple task as it sounds, because it includes a comparison of words between a sentence pair. Pair of sentence means the sentence in the source language as well as the sentence in the target language. So again, the next question arises that why there is a need of the evaluation of machine translation, because if we already have translators with us, then what's the need of evaluating them? So we can say that there is a rigorous need of evaluating these machine translators, because until and unless we do not assess, we do not judge the output coming out of a machine translation engine, we cannot say that the output that we are getting out of this machine translation engine is perfect for us or is can be ready to use. Moreover, due to the widespread development of MT systems, the MT evaluation is becoming more and more important nowadays, and it is also necessary to tell anyone that how well these machine translation systems are performing, and are they whether are they making some progress actually or not. So however, we can say that this task machine translation evaluation is difficult because of some reasons. We can say the first and the foremost reason can be the language variability, which results in no single correct translation. Because if we have a sentence in one of the natural language, it may generate a multiple translations in some another language, and all those translations can be correct. On the other hand, few of them can be correct and few of them can be incorrect. So because of these type of ambiguity in the translation task, the evaluation of translation is also a difficult or an important one. Another point can be that the natural languages are highly ambiguous, and different languages do not always express the same content in the same way. So because of these basic difficulties or these basic reasons, we can say the task of MT evaluation is difficult and complex. Moreover, the task of evaluation is not only limited to this MT system, or we must also understand that the task of evaluation can again further be categorized as evaluation of an NLP system and evaluation of a specifically MT system, machine translation system. And I must tell you that these two tasks, these two evaluations cannot be combined, cannot be clubbed together. Let me tell you why. Because if we see the evaluation in NLP, in any natural language processing evaluation, there are two basic criteria on the basis of which the evaluation can be done, and these are precision and recall. And you all must be aware about these two terms, that precision is nothing but it is just the parameter of the results that we are getting, that how many results that we are getting are correct. On the other hand, recall is like what portion of the correct results were returned. Let's say if we have got 100 results and out of those 100 only 80 results are correct, so we can say that the precision is 0.8 or let's say 80%, because 20 results that we are getting are not correct. Similarly, on the other hand, recall is just the portion of correct results that were returned. Moreover, furthermore, the evaluation in NLP can also be categorized into two broad categories: the document retrieval and the classification. So if we talk about only the document retrieval class, in this, precision can be calculated as the ratio of documents relevant and retrieved to the documents retrieved. On the other hand, recall is just the ratio of documents relevant and retrieved with the documents relevant. On the other hand, in classification category, the precision and recall changes, the definition of precision and recall changed from the documents retrieval to the number of true positives, true negatives, false positive and false negatives that we are getting. On the other hand, if we talk about evaluation in machine translation systems, in this category we can divide this evaluation, we can categorize this evaluation in three different classes: the operational evaluation, typological evaluation and declarative evaluation. So operational evaluation is just like answering a question of is MT machine translation system A is it operationally better than any other system B, or does machine translation system A cost us less? So the factor of cost is also associated in this type of evaluation. Another type of evaluation can be typological, where we ensure that which linguistic phenomena the particular machine translation that we are evaluating is covered. And the third category is the declarative evaluation. Here we try to find out the answer of the question, that how does quality of system A, output of system A fare with respect to that of the output of system B. where we are trying to judge or assess the quality of two different machine translation systems. So we have two type of machine translation evaluation methods with us. The first one is the
You can skip this introduction part, right?
Okay,
come to the literature part.
Okay.
You come to the literature part.
Sure, sir.
Yes, please.
Yes.
What are the motivation? You can discuss this motivation also.
Okay. So the main motivation behind our study is that though already a lot of evaluation campaigns have been undertaken for English as a target language, but evaluation of English to Hindi MD has not been taken up so well so far. So that's why we have focused our study more on this language pair, that is from English to Hindi only. Second, another motivation was that basically this study can help most of the system managers of MT projects, as many times they have to wait for human evaluations to complete their assessment for an MT system. So this process might take days to finish by a human evaluator, which can hinder the development process of the machine translation systems ahead. Another one can be using the methods suggested by us. Now the system manager can very easily analyze the performance of his system, which can help in him keeping up the deadlines. So these are few motivations behind our study, and for this we surveyed the literature, we reviewed the literature of this field, where we found out that most of the already existing evaluation metrics are based on different similarity criteria, let's say lexical matching or edit distance, the linguistics, semantics, and nowadays the machine learning techniques as well. And most of the approaches are based on comparisons between the system and the reference translations. And some approaches have also been suggested that do not need any reference translations at all for the comparisons. So these are the already existing metrics that have been studied critically, and on what feature these metrics have been designed. A complete comparison of all the matrices along with their features have been carried out. And this is what the different features, what are the different matrices based on what different features you can see in this table. Now, before proceeding with the next part, we must also be aware that what are the issues with the... Yes, sir?
Can we take questions in between, or I can ask at the end of the presentation also? Are you comfortable in between?
Yes, as you wish, sir.
Go to slide number 27. Okay.
Yes.
27. So here you mentioned about a lot of metrics, right,
yes.
that are available, right?
Yes, sir.
But you have used only 5 metrics for the evaluation purposes. Is there
yes.
any specific criteria for that?
Sir,
why not others?
Yes. Sir, the first reason is that as of now, BLEU is considered as the de facto in the machine translation evaluation field. So the BLEU score is considered as correlated well with the human scores. That's why we have considered those topmost matrices whose scores came out to be relevant or more related with the human scores.
Okay. Go ahead.
The second reason was that these matrices are working very well in other fields, or we can say for the other language pairs, English to Chinese, English to German, English to French. So we tried to test it out that whether these matrices will also work well for English to Hindi language pair as well. So these are the few reasons for selecting these matrices.
Okay, good.
So the various issues with MT evaluation algorithms that we studied or that we felt and observed was that most of the evaluation systems focus on only partial aspect of quality of translation, let's say lexical or fluency, but not on the overall quality of the translation. Let's say some of the metric might be counting only on the fluency part of the translation. If the translated text is fluent, then it may give a high score to the translation. Or let's say some other metrics only focus on the fluent lexical part, that if the grammar of the sentence is quite well or correct, then it may give a high score to that translation. Moreover, another issue with the MT evaluation algorithm is that same sentences can have multiple translations, because this particular issue I already considered in the previous slide, that we know that the same source language sentence can generate multiple translation sentences. Another one, it is very difficult to decide the quality of the translation. That how can we decide the quality? Quality can be decided on the basis of fluency, or it can be decided on the basis of the lexical features, or it can be decided on the basis of some any other feature. Moreover, there are no fixed standard measures for comparing two systems. So these are few issues which hinder in the existing algorithms of machine translation evaluations. Moreover, as we are dealing with only the language pair of English and Hindi, so we also studied and observed that what are the real problems in English to Hindi machine translation evaluation. And we came out with a few results that the first problem is that Hindi is very rich in grammar, though we should not call it as a problem. We should call it as a beauty of the Hindi language, that it is very rich in grammar, and people generally use different synonyms of the words to write the same sentence. But so because of this particular point, that the use of different synonyms of the words, that means if let's suppose a particular English word has been translated to its respective Hindi word, but instead of that particular Hindi word in the reference translation, its synonym is present, so it will be hard for the system to recognize or to identify that the two words are actually not different words, they are just the synonym of the same. Another problem with Hindi is that a word can be written in more than one forms. Like you can see that one example over here of Sundar. Sundar, the word Sundar can be written as with adhane and or with a Chandrabindu. So as we know that Hindi language, computer works with Unicode, where each and every character is assigned a unique code to it. So here adhane will have a different Unicode and a Chandrabindu will have a completely different Unicode assigned to them. So because of this reason also, the two different words can be considered or are considered different by the system, though they are same. The third problem is, if the words, let's suppose anyhow if we overcome the first problem, that if the words can be replaced by their synonyms, then it might be possible the semantic of the sentences may get wrong because of the grammar dependency in Hindi language. Let's say avkash hota hai and chutti hoti hai. So if let's suppose avkash has been replaced by the word chutti, which is just a synonym of the avkash, then if we replace chutti on this in this sentence, chutti hota hai, it will become chutti hota hai, which is grammatically incorrect. So even if the words are being replaced by their synonym, their semantics may get wrong. So we should have such a system that should be able to check the dependency and correct it accordingly. So these are the experimental setup which we have used in our study. The corpus description, the description of the machine translators that are used in the study, the use of empty evaluation matrices, and the lexical resources that have been developed by us. So as I've already mentioned that corpus, the development of corpus is of utmost importance in natural language processing tasks or machine translation tasks. That means until and unless we do not have an authentic corpus, we cannot validate our results. So that's why the development of corpus is of utmost importance, and that's why we have created two different domain corpuses, the agriculture domain and the judiciary domain corpus. These are the description of the corpuses that we have used in our study. So basically this agriculture domain corpus was taken out from the IIIT Hyderabad website. They have developed this corpus, but this corpus was not ready to use in the ready to use format. So we have manually aligned the sentences. Another corpus, this is entirely created by us, judiciary corpus, by the documents that we somehow able to got from one of my known in Patna High Court, and this corpus has been created for the judiciary domain. These are the machine translators that we have used in our study. The Google Translator Bing, which is a product of Microsoft, Babelship, a product of Yahoo company, and Babylon Translator, which is a product of Babylon Software Limited. And all these machine translators are freely online available translators, and all these work on the statistical machine translation. Other linguistic resources that have also been developed by us are the post tagger. So we have also developed a Hindi post tagger using hidden markup model, which was based on the approach suggested by Zorapsi and Martin. And for creation of the tagger, we were also required to have a pause tagged corpora. So we manually tagged 10,000 sentences, and we used the pause tag set defined by Bharti et al. In 2006, and our tagger gives 94% accuracy. We have also generated a synonyms and paraphrases to be used with the metric, because this was one of the problems with the existing metrics, that they do not deal with the synonym words. So for this, we used a Hindi wordnet that was created by IIT Bombay, and for generating synonyms. So this is the blue metric, which is also basically the bilingual evaluation under study, and this is a de facto in the field of machine translation evaluation. The central idea behind this metric is the closer a machine translation is to a professional human translation, the better it is. An implication which is used for this blue metric is that an evaluation metric could be evaluated if it correlates with human evaluation. It would be a useful metric. Means here, this is an important point to note down, that there must be some evaluation criteria which can evaluate the evaluation metric itself. So for this, we have also used the implication that if a evaluation metric correlates well with the human evaluation, that it should be considered a useful metric. So to understand the metric, we must be aware or very well versed with these two terms which I'm using throughout my presentation: the candidate sentence or the candidate translation and the reference translation. So these are nothing but candidate translation is the sentence or the translation text which is coming out of the machine translation system. And reference translation is the translation which is already stored in the system and that has been translated by some human experts. So basically, blue metric is an IBM developed metric and is probably the best known machine evaluation metric to check how close a candidate translation is to a reference translation. This metric carries out an n-gram comparison between both the translations. And to understand the n-gram, we must have the knowledge of. So let me tell you what exactly the n-gram is. So blue compares the candidate, which is a machine translation, with the reference, which is a human translation. And this comparison is done by performing n-gram checking, where n varies from 1 to the length of the candidate or the number of unique words in the candidate. And in this, n consecutive words of a sentence pair is compared. 1 gram is also called unigram, 2 gram is also called bigram, and likewise. So let us understand with this simple example. Suppose we have an English sentence with us: the beauty of the Taj Mahal is beyond your imagination. And let's suppose after fetching this English sentence to some machine translation system, the Hindi output that we are getting is Taj Mahal ki sundarta aapki kalpana se pare hai. And along with this candidate translation, we also have 3 reference sentences which have been developed or which have been created and collected from 3 different human evaluators, human translators, which has a very well knowledge of both the languages, English as well as Hindi. So reference, let's suppose human 1 has translated the same English sentence, the beauty of the Taj Mahal is beyond your imagination, to the Hindi sentence as Taj Mahal ki खूबसूरती आपके ख्यालों से परे है. Another human translator converted as Taj Mahal की खूबसूरती बहुत आकर्षक है, and third one translated as Taj Mahal की खूबसूरती का दुनिया में कोई मुकाबला नहीं है. So for finding out the unigram precision, basically the number of 1 gram is being meshed or the counted, that how many unique words in the candidate sentence is getting matched with how many unique words in any one of the references. Like you can see, Taj Mahal, to find out unigram precision, we try to find out is Taj Mahal present in any of the reference. So you can easily see the Taj Mahal. Word Taj Mahal is present in all the three reference translations. So we can say, likewise, we also try to find out each and every word. Ki, Sundarta, Aapki, Kalpana se pare hai. So you can see that out of total 8 words, Taj Mahal, Ki, Sundarta, the total length of the candidate sentence is 8. It has 8 different words. So out of these 8 different words, only 5 words get matched with any of the reference translation. So its unigram precision came out to be 5 out of 8. Likewise, for calculating bigram precision, we take the combination of 2 consecutive words. Like Taj Mahal Ki will be counted as one pair, Ki Sundarta will be counted as another pair, Sundarta Aapki will be counted as third pair. Likewise, the pair of two words, two consecutive words. And when we calculated this, it came out to be 3. That only 3 pair of 2 consecutive words get matched out of total 7 pairs. Likewise, we can also calculate the trigram and so on. And finally, the blue score will be calculated as BP into exponential of summation n goes from 1 to n, where n is the total length of the candidate sentence, Wn log Pn, where Pn is just the precision of n-gram precision, we can say. And BP is nothing but it is just the brevity penalty, which a kind of penalty which has been included for finding out the score of blue, which is equal to 1, or we can say which do not affect the overall score of blue if the candidate length is greater than reference length. You can see 1 if C is greater than R, or it will be e raised to the power 1 minus R upon C if the length of the candidate is less than or equal to R. So this is how the blue metric works, but the major criticisms of blue are that here only exact words matching takes place. So one of the problem that was associated in English to Hindi translation, that it do not consider the synonyms over here. So blue does not treat synonyms as same words. Secondly, it admits too much variation. Even when a sentence is semantically and syntactically incorrect, it receives good blue score, because it might be possible that words are just displaced in the translated sentence, but still it is just matching the words, word by word matching it is performing. So it might be possible that a semantically wrong sentence might get higher score, indicating that it is a good translation. Poor performance, it performs poorly while evaluating outputs from rule-based system as compared with the statistical systems output. So these are the few criticisms which are associated with this blue metric. Likewise, another metric, the meteor metric, is also a precision and recall metric, but it also includes a fragmentation penalty. Unlike the brevity penalty that has been associated in blue, it includes a fragmentation penalty that accounts for how well ordered the matched unigrams of the machine translation are. So one of the drawbacks that we were saying that even if the words are not properly arranged, then the blue score might be higher. So this type of drawback is overcome in meteor metric, that now it includes a penalty on the score if the words are not well arranged. And the meteor score finally calculated as, it is used to calculate the average fragmentation by the formula fragmentation minus 1 upon total length of the candidate minus 1. And final score is calculated as the F mean into 1 minus DF, where discounting factor is gamma, which have been taken as 0.5, multiplied by fragment raised to the power beta. Moreover, meteor metric also takes out the best score if more than one reference translations are available. So it carried out the score for all the different reference translations, and it gives a final output as the best out of all the available translations. GTM metric that has been implemented, it stands for general text measure, and again it is a precision and recall metric, whose score is calculated as 2PR upon P plus R. Another one is the AMBER metric, which is a modified BLEU enhanced ranking metric and improvement on the popular metric BLEU. So here the penalty part is improved by considering the product of different kind of penalties. Unlike a single kind of penalty in BLEU and Meteor, here it includes the different kind of penalties. Some examples of such penalties are strict redundancy penalty, continuity penalty, and chunk penalty. And final score is calculated as score multiplied by the overall penalty. Believe this is a different kind of metric which is not based on precision and recall, but it is based on the dependency trees. So the way to know the quality of a candidate sentence is to see where structurally the sentence is similar to the reference sentence or not. Hence, to calculate the blip score, the dependency trees of the candidate and reference sentences are compared and given a value based on how similar or dissimilar the two sentences are. So these are the comparative study of different matrices on the corpus that we have created. So these are the scores that we got out of for all the 5 matrices that has been implemented along with the human score. So you can see the English sentence and its corresponding reference sentence, as well as the 3 candidate sentences. CS1 is the candidate sentence that has been generated from Google Translator, CS2 that has been generated from Bing Translator, and CS3 that has been generated from Babylon Translator. So in the above example, you can also observe that CS1 is the best translation that has been generated by Google, but still none of the metrics have given it a score near to the human score, which is 1. So though BLEU score is giving the best out of all the remaining matrices, but still it is not comparable to the human score. These are some another examples which have been carried out for the study of different matrices, the comparative study that has been done, and what observations have been, what all features that have been observed. So in this example, we have observed that due to the misplacement of some of the phrases, human evaluator has evaluated a little less, but again all the matrices are giving very less score to the sentences generated as CS1. So you can see because of some misplacement of the words, the human evaluators have given 0.9, 0.4 and 0.4 for these 3 machine translation sentences, but none of the matrices score is as comparable as human score. So moreover, to more authenticate our study, we have done the statistical analysis of automatic empty evaluation matrix along with the human score, and these are the correlation values which came out of this statistical analysis. The blue, these are the correlation values with human scores of different matrices. So the previous one was for the agriculture corpus, and this one is for the judiciary corpus.
Pooja, can you explain the significance of this correlation? These values, like BLEU 0.38, what is the significance of this? It's good or bad?
Yeah. Sir, this will be more clear in the next few slides if I'll show you the trend analysis. Let us take this particular graph. Sir, are you able to see?
Yes.
So, sir, basically, when we correlated the Meteor and BLEU scores for agriculture domain for the Google Translator sentences, then we saw that both of the matrices are positively correlated with each other. Means for the sentences, if a BLEU score is having higher, for all those sentences, the Meteor score is also higher. And for the sentences, if the BLEU score is low, the Meteor score is also getting low. So we can say, similarly, we have also studied the correlation for the matrix score as well as human scores. And we have also seen that all the matrices are also positively correlated with human scores. So that was a good sign for us to carry out our further work. So these are the few statistical analysis graphs, these trends that we have seen. So you can see the red lines show the meteor scores and the blue line show the blue scores. And this particular graph, these particular graphs are only done for 100 sentences, 100 pair of sentences. So you can easily see the, because the matrix score lie between only 0 and 1. So you can see for all the 100 sentences, we have carried out the results in pair of 100 sentences each. And the same study we have done for both the corpus parallelly, the agriculture and the judiciary one. And for all the translators, we have carried out this one for Bing Translator, for Google, as well as for Babylon. So at the conclusion of this statistical analysis of this study, we can conclude that as per the automatic MT evaluation metric scores, the Google Translator MT engine works best for English to Hindi translation. So as compared to other translators that we considered for our study, the Google came out to be the best. Secondly, Blue has the highest correlation with human score, whereas Meteor correlations values lie in between the Blue and other metrics correlation value. So now another positive sign for us that out of the 5 selected chosen matrices, now we can say Blue is giving the highest correlation with human score. And thirdly, another pair of matrices, let's say Meteor GTM, Meteor Ember, GTM Ember, have highly significant correlation between each other. So because at the conclusion of this study, we selected Blue metric to be carried out or to be enhanced further, so that it can be enhanced or improved for a better evaluation of the machine translation of English to Hindi language pair. So our proposed algorithm, we have proposed a new algorithm for the evaluation of machine translated text from English to Hindi, which includes some advanced features like synonym replacement, which has not been considered by any of these metrics, and shallow parsing, which first replaces the unmatched tokens or words of the candidate sentence with their synonym, which are present in any of the reference sentences. So this is the framework of our algorithm, that the English sentences are fed to 3 parallel MT engines. Then the Hindi sentences generated are fetched for the further algorithm to fetch out the unmatched tokens, those words which are not getting matched with any of the reference translation, so that they can further be replaced by their synonym and we can improve the score of the evaluation. So for this, we have developed a root word extractor. For this, we have used a Hindi dictionary and some rules for root word extraction. And finally, after this, after replacing the words in the candidate with their synonyms, which are present in the reference translation, finally it will be fetched to shallow parser, where if the semantics of the sentence got wrong while substituting a word with its synonym, so that it can be corrected. And finally, the final score will be displayed. So our proposed work can be better explained in 5 different modules: fetching input from the dataset or from the corpus that we have developed, root word extraction module, synonym replacement module, shallow parsing, and finally the calculation of final score. And for storing the input sentences, we have used the XML file structure for storing English as well as for storing Hindi sentences. So the candidate sentences are stored in candidate XML files, and reference sentences are stored in respective reference XML files. So this is the XML document structure of candidate XML file, and this is the snapshot of the candidate XML file, which stores only one candidate sentence that has been generated from one machine translation engine. This is the snapshot of the reference XML file, which stores 3 reference sentences, because we have limited the number of references as 3. The next module is the root word extraction module. So for this, it will first find the set of those words that are present in the candidate but not present in the reference sentences, and also those words which are present in the references but not present in the candidate. So it will it will create an array of all those words which are not meshed between candidate and reference. Then on the basis of some rules like suffix removal rules and with the help of dictionary which has been stored in database, it finds out the root words of all the unmeshed inflected words. So these are some basic rules that we have used for carrying out this root word extraction module. Like let's suppose if the main word is, let's say, ladkiyo, so its root word is ladki, because only the synonym of ladki can be find out, not the synonym of ladkiyo. So using this suffix removal rule, the suffix will be replaced with its respective replacement. This is the algorithm that we have used for creating this root word extraction module. The next module is the synonym replacement. Once the root word is extracted, it is checked that whether the root word of the unmeshed word of the reference sentence is the synonym of the unmeshed word of the candidate sentence on the basis of synsет table and a reference link, which is also stored in the database that contains all the possible synonyms of a Hindi word. And for this, we have used the Hindi word net that has been created by IIT Bombay, where all the possible synonyms of a Hindi word is stored, and that's why we use a Hindi dictionary for that. So this is the algorithm that we have used for synonym replacement, and this synsет table has been stored in this. This is the snapshot of the synset table that has been created. It has three fields: the ID, word, and all its synonyms. And for fetching out the synonym from the database, we have used the circular queue concept, where if a word, it's let's suppose if the word is Akash and you can see its reference is 2. So after getting to the ID number 2, it will find out that Amber means Amber is the synonym of Akash. If Amber also does not get matched, that means it will again have to go to another synonym, which is number 3. So number 3 is Asman, which is also the synonym of the same word. So after, as you can see, the reference of Asman is 1. So that means again it came out to the original word that was Akash. Means it has traced out all the possible synonyms which are present in the dictionary. Shallow parsing. In this module, a chunker or shallow parser identifies the simple noun, verb groups, and simple adjective and adverbial phrase in running text. And it uses the basic knowledge of words provided by the lexical database to find out the different types of binding among the words of the sentence and then replacing them by suitable form. So for this is the algorithm that we have used, and here we have used the post tagger that we have also created, that we have also developed. So in this module, we have used that tagger, and these are the few rules that have been used for chunking.
Can you compare this proposed algorithm with any existing algorithm?
Yes,
so
sir.
that I can understand the difference between the existing algorithm and your proposed algorithm.
Yes, sir. Sure. So you can see this in this table. I have compared the results which I got from this algorithm with the existing methods. So as you can see,
please be specific to the points where you have make the differences, right? With your proposed algorithm and the already existing algorithm, if any.
Sure, sir. So
continue, please.
Here you can observe in this table, the first column says the first column states the candidate sentences, the second column are the reference sentences, and the third column the candidate sentence after performing synonym replacement and shallow parsing. So you can see the actual candidate sentence has now been modified to the after performing synonym replacement and shallow parsing. So in the last 3 columns, you can see the 3 scores. The first score is the old blue score, which we were getting without any synonym replacement and without performing any shallow parsing, which was 0.37. This is, I'm only pointing out the first one. And the score that we have got after synonym replacement was 0.6086. And the same score we are getting even after parsing, because in this particular sentence, after replacing synonym, the semantics, the grammar of the sentence did not get changed. So that's why the 2 scores are same. But as you can see in the second sentence, this is the score of our algorithm. The second last column, score after synonym replacement, which is 0.54. which is greater than the old blue score, which was only 0.44. And finally, the new score after passing is more enhanced, which is 0.57. So these are the few sentences that these are only few of them which I have put over here to show you the difference between or the comparison between the existing methods and our algorithm. So these are the results and these are the graph which is comparing the old score and the new score along with the human score. So you can see the human score is still on the top, which is being shown by the gray line, but still our algorithm is giving better score as compared to the existing one, which is being shown by the blue color line.
So the data set is same. So you have done on the same data set, whatever you are comparing. Just go to yes, this slide.
Yes, sir. I have used the same data set for getting the score of the existing algorithm as well as for our developed algorithm, because only then I can validate or I can claim that our algorithm is better than the existing one.
What do you mean by here is old score and new score?
The old metric score, old existing algorithm score, you can say. This is old. Yes, sir.
And new score is your proposed algorithm.
So my proposed algorithm score. Yes, sir.
And then it's human score. Human score
is the score that human evaluators have given.
Okay.
Yes.
So that is for the new or for the for both old and new. This human score.
So these are, let's suppose if we have one sentence. So
okay.
we have translated it, and then that translated sentence we have evaluated by using one human evaluator, by using our algorithm, and by using existing algorithm.
Okay.
So these are few other comparisons which are also, you can easily see that human score is still at the top, though our algorithm is not able to beat the human score, because obviously human score is the golden score and that cannot be beaten so easily, but our algorithm has gave better score as compared to the existing one, that is old blue score. So these are few graphs that is being shown over here. So for now I'm concluding my part that despite their umpteen limitations, the standard metrics that are in vogue and are still preferred for use of empty evaluation. So it has been observed that these matrices are not always consistent with each other, and in certain cases are not even well correlated with human evaluations. And the performance of these matrices often varies with the pair of languages under consideration. Like when we have studied, we saw that the same matrix was giving very well out of the state scores for another language pairs, let's say English to German, English to French, English to Spanish. But when we tried out for English to Hindi language pair, their score was absolutely very low. So this may result due to the linguistic variations between the source and the target language under consideration. No matter how the evaluation metrics are designed, their limitations will be similar as long as the underlying process is comparison of reference sentences with the machine translated ones. And moreover, a number of factors still remain unexplored, such as not considering the type of mismatch, what role the mismatch type plays in translation output, or how an individual error affects the translation output, what is the importance or weight of the mismatch type, non-suitability of the standard metrics for many languages. So all these factors have been ignored so far. So for future scope, so I just conclude that part. So these are the few cases which have not been considered in our study, and these are like the word "say" can be used as comparison word. For example, "Fool se komal, Ram ne dhanush utha liya." So here, "say," the word "say" is taken as a karak. Here, then the sentence would indicate fool as an instrument. But here, "say" is not taken as a karak, but here it is used for the comparison between fool and komal. Similarly, the word "ki" can occur as a verb. For example, Ram ne Mohan se baat ki. So here "ki" is acting as a verb, but we have taken "ki" as a karak in all our So these are some exceptions which have not been handled by our study. And one more, that par can also occur as a noun. Say for example, चित्रकार पर से चित्र बनाता है. So but पर से together acts as a कारक, like वायुयान सिर पर से गुजरा. So these are few exceptions that has not been considered in our study, and we have taken them as our future scope. So these are the references that we have used in our study. Thanks a lot. Thank you, sir. Any questions? Hello? Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, Poonam.
Yes, you are audible, right? So I have a few questions, right?
Yes, sir.
First, I will ask my questions, then I will ask the second examiner questions also that are also with me, right?
Okay.
So my first question that is related with your case study.
Okay.
That why did you select judiciary domain together with the agriculture domain for the analysis purpose?
Okay. So, sir, for the reason behind choosing these two domains, there were two reasons basically. The first one is that most of the people are interested in domains like health domain, tourism domain, and all these. Most of the study are already been done in these two domains. So,
Okay.
for a, or we can say these two domains, the agriculture and judiciary domains, are least explored domains. Like in agriculture field, we all know that most of the farmers or most of the people related with agriculture use Hindi as their language, their mother tongue. So, and let's suppose if there is a person who has a good agricultural knowledge, but he is not aware with the Hindi or is not having a good knowledge of Hindi language, that then it will be an hindrance to putting a new technology in the agriculture.
Let me ask in a different way, right? These two, both domains are heterogeneous in nature. So, what kind of difficulty you face in this?
Okay. So basically, this was the first reason that why I have chosen the agriculture one. And for choosing the judiciary domain, again, the fourth reason was that even today, most of the judgments are written in English. So, and most of the people who are going to the court may be completely uneducated person who does not know the language English. So it might be very helpful for those persons who are filing some cases in the court or who are having some legal matters in their court but are not able to understand the language, the general used language in the court.
Okay. Next one.
Yes, sir.
Audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Okay. What was the purpose of including brevity 90 for calculating the evaluation score of blue metric?
Sorry, sir. Your question was not clear.
Regarding how you calculate, how you evaluate the blue metric score.
Okay.
You have used one brevity penalty.
Yes, sir.
Calculating this. Why?
Yes. So, sir, can I show you one slide to explain this?
Right, you can.
Yes. Sir, if you see in this particular example, let's suppose if you see the length of the candidate sentence, it is 8 words.
Okay.
And if you see the length of any of the reference translation, the maximum length of the reference translation is the third reference, which is having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 reference. Sorry, 10. The length of the reference 3 is 10. So here it is assumed that the candidate sentence should not be longer than any of the reference translation. So to include a penalty on such sentences whose length are less, or let us keep aside the equality part, because if you see here the formula for calculating brevity penalty, when C is equal to R, it still came out to 1. So here, if the length of the candidate sentence is less than the length of the reference sentence, then we have to put a kind of penalty. That means somehow the translated sentence is not up to the mark, is not as perfect as it should be. So that's why we are including some kind of penalty in that on those sentences whose length are less than any of the reference sentences.
Okay, my next question is also related to this blue metric, right?
Okay.
Is there any specific reason for selecting this blue metric for further improvement?
Yes, sir. As I've already, I think, mentioned that there are many reasons. The first reason is blue is considered de facto in the machine translation evaluation field. Another reason is for different language pairs, let's say English to French, English to Spanish, or we can say for non-Asian languages, this blue performs very well, or blue gives the best score which can be thought of for any of such language pairs. So we thought of, why don't we try this metric on our Indian language or our mother tongue, let's say Hindi. So that was another reason for choosing this particular metric for our language pair, that is for English to Hindi.
Okay. Now, one more question I have.
Okay, sir.
Why did you choose these three translators, Google, Bing, and Babelfish, for the translation?
Okay.
And what basic difference you notice between the translators generated by these three translation engines?
Okay. So the first reason for selecting these three translators, machine translators, was that to be very frank, the first reason was that all of these were freely available. So we were not interested in going to people and asking for their help and asking or paying something for purchasing the other translators. So we thought of using the online translator because most of the people obviously use an online translator instead of using a purchased one. So we thought of evaluating these translators only. This was the first reason. Another reason was that so this was the reason for selecting these three translators only. The basic difference that we noticed between the translations generated out of these three translators was that the Google translator was giving the best translation. The reason behind that might be because now I can say that though Google translator has shifted to neural machine translator in 2018, but we started our research back in 2013. So at that time, Google translator was also working on the statistical machine translator. So the another reason was that though most of the people are daily using these translators, so they are learning by the sentences, the input they are getting from the users as well. So the reason, or sorry, the difference between the three translations was that the Google gave the best translation, and another, the Bing give the second best translation, and the Babylon translated sentences were the, we can say, the worst one. They were not up to the mark. So these are the differences that we observed between the three translations.
Okay. So let me take the questions from the another examiner also, right?
Okay.
The first question is related with that why you have selected these two domains, judiciary domain and the agriculture domain. So that you have already answered, right?
Yes.
Now the next one.
Yes, sir.
What is the overhead of the proposed AmBlue algorithm and
Yes, sir.
how it affects the performance?
Okay.
Audible? Should I repeat?
Yes, sir. Can you repeat one more
Please,
time?
no problem. What is the overhead of the proposed M-BLUE algorithm and
Yes.
how it affects performance?
Okay. So the overhead can be considered in the way of giving the input sentences. Like we have, because as you can see, we are using the inbuilt dictionary that we have created for our study. I can show you the framework so that it will be more easy to make understand. So as you can see, we are using the dictionary and the some rules for root word extraction as well as some rules for chunking. So these are some lexical dependencies which can act as the overhead for our new algorithm, because our algorithm is somewhere based on these lexical is or depend our algorithm is depend on these lexical uh, lexical databases. So this can be one of the overhead for the new algorithm that has been developed by us. And as of now, these things are not affecting the outcome of the algorithm. So we can say that these things are not affecting, but these can be considered as an overhead.
Okay. Next question. Right.
Yes, sir.
Can this work be expanded and implemented
Yes, sir.
along with the translation system to get confidence value of translation? If yes, then how?
Okay.
Should I repeat?
Yes, sir. Please repeat.
Okay. Can this work be extended and
Yes.
implemented along with translation system
Okay.
to get confidence value of translation? If yes, then how?
Okay. So yes, definitely, this work can be extended as well as implemented along with the translation system. So, as I have also mentioned in my future work, that as of now we have not considered few exceptions in our present work. So, by including those exceptions also, as well as along with some other, the present work can be extended.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Next it relates with the maybe with the human score, right?
Okay.
So are the human used in experiments or expert?
Okay. Sir, the humans that were used in experiments were, we can say, are very well versed with both the languages, English and Hindi.
So they are expert?
They are not professional experts. They were like, we have used university students, college going students, some
Okay.
professionals working in some IT field, or some
You
other.
don't think if you take feedback from the experts, then you can have a different result?
Yes,
Or it
sir.
doesn't affect the performance? Maybe. Okay.
Yes.
So how do you account for the difference of opinion among humans?
Okay. Let me tell you, uh, when we have taken the when we have given our sentences to the humans to evaluate those sentences, what we have observed that few humans consider the fluency of the translated text or the sentences that have been given very much. They considered the fluency to be of utmost importance with respect as compared to the other factors like the grammar or the spelling mistake or these type of errors. So some humans avoided those errors and they have scored the given sentences much high, as well as on the other hand, some humans have considered the word pair, the order of the words very much, and because of that reason, they have scored the same sentences. They have given a low score to the same sentences.
So how do you accommodate that?
So, as of now, we have taken whatsoever results they have given, whatsoever output they have given, without manipulating them. We have considered, we have respected their decisions because they helped in our research work. So, we have considered their output as it is.
anyone from the members of SRC or want to ask any question to the Pooja?
पूजा,
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Rita.
आपके एसआरसी में कौन कौन है?
Pradeep Kumar sir and Rajesh Mishra sir.
प्रदीप सर, मिश्रा सर,
यस मैम।
प्रदीप सर कुछ पूछना हो आपको?
नहीं मैम, ठीक है, मेरी तरफ से बेस्ट ऑफ लक। सर ने जो पूछ लिया वो अच्छा है।
Dr. Rajesh,
सर आपने जो मैं पूछना चाहता था ऑलरेडी आपने पूछ लिया वो।
when you can ask in a different way,
No, I think there is no questions.
this is the last difference, right? So whatever we suggest her, she will take care of that things with the research scholars further, right? It's a continuous work, right?
Yeah.
So Nita madam, who is going to give the concluding remarks? You are expecting from me or your dean
डीन सर,
regarding this?
डीन सर,